going on YouTube? But Great Blades here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Arcane Designs The Abyss. Let's start with some measurements. The overall size is 8 inches. Blade length is 3.5, and for the cutting edge, 3.25, maybe 3.3 inches. So this is the dual tone one, and this one has the blue anodized pivot with the stonewash titanium handle. They come in a couple of different colors. He usually does red, monochrome, kind of just like a silvery color one, or gray, and then this one is the blue one. For the blades, they come in the dual tone like this one, satin, and a black PVD as well. This is a, maybe you can see it, compound ground, but it is flat. It's a flat grind, but it's compound. Depending where you're looking, some retailers were listing this as a Bowie, which makes sense, or also a compound, like drop point tanto, or sorry, clip point tanto, because it does have this portion here. I'm not the blade police, but whatever you want to call it, regardless of that, I think it's nice to look at aesthetically. Let's move on to size comparison. So we'll have the Demco 80 20.5, and the QSP Penguin. So this is longer than both of them by the QSP, compared to the QSP by quite a bit, and then the Demco just a little bit longer, 1/4 inch maybe or so. As far as your carry profile, in terms of thickness, it's a little bit thicker than the QSP Penguin here, and then compared to the Demco 20.5, not including the pivot, which does stick up a little bit, they're about the same, but of course with the pivot, just in that one spot, it's going to be a little bit thicker. Let's do a measurement on the blade stock thickness now that I have some calipers in. So blade stock thickness on this is going to be right around 160 thousandths. Moving on to the measurement here. Looking at 4.35 ounces. So it is a little bit over on the, if you prescribe to the ounce and inch for blade length, it is a little bit over that, but it's still not extremely heavy knife at all. So the frame is going to be, and the clip are both titanium, 6AL4V titanium specifically. The blade is, is M390 at about 60 to 61 HRC, which is pretty good. You know, 60 to 62 is pretty good for M390, but 60-61's not bad either. It is a Chinese knife. It is made in China. I believe Riot OEM'd this. I'm not 100% sure though. I couldn't find anything on it anywhere. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough, but it is made in China. And this model in particular came out in 2021 or 2022, I believe. So it's a couple years old, but you can still find them floating around a little bit on some retailers. But Israel, the founder of Arcane Design, hasn't made any more of them to my knowledge. He hasn't done like a bunch of batches. There's still just, I think, some sitting around, and you can always find them on the secondary. I actually picked this one up secondary, traded a Vero that I had for this one. And so this is, I'm at least the second owner, perhaps the third. I'd have to go back and check to see that conversation that I had with the gentleman I traded this with, but it does have signs of wear and use, you know, on the clip. There's definitely some trails and scratches and things, and the ano's faded a little bit. It's more of a softer blue instead of a bright blue that it used to be, but that doesn't bother me. I tend to use 99% of my knives anyways, so scratches here and there, fading ano, things like that, those don't really bother me as long as the blade stays sharp, and this one is, and it performs the tasks I need it to do. That works for me. Ergonomically speaking, this is pretty comfortable. It does have a little bit of jimping here on the top of the spine, and it goes out a reasonable distance. I think it's good. It's pretty grippy. I think, you know, if they had done more jimping with some less spacing in between them, maybe that would have made it a little bit grippier, but it's nothing too crazy. But you don't feel the pocket clip. I think the pocket clip is pretty good. It's got a nice, just gentle swoop up, sort of go in and out of the pocket pretty well. As far as hardware, I believe they're T8. Let me check here though. Let's see. T8 on the pivot, T8 on the body screw. Yeah. So T8 for all the hardware, which is excellent. T8 is kind of what you want minimum most of the time. T6 is okay. It's just, it can be easier to strip your screws if you're not careful, especially if they're titanium hardware. But this one is it titanium actually? Before I say that, yeah, hardware's titanium. So this originally retailed for $375, which I think is a pretty fair price, given that it is a titanium frame lock. This was made in 2022, so inflation a little bit on that, but it is a titanium frame lock, and it is using M390. M390 now is a little bit less crazy as it used to be. It's still a plenty great steel, but we are now starting to see many budget companies and budget brands and budget knives produce knives, usually out of China as well, that have M390 blades on knives that are $100 or less. But even for all that, the Arcane Designs knives are very well made, and I also just like how they look aesthetically. The owner and maker of the knives, Israel, he is a big fan of like science fiction and like mystery and space and things like that. So a lot of his designs and his names for his knives are inspired by things like that. He's got other knives called like the Crawler, the Crypt, the Creature, Necronaut. They're all, I like the naming scheme as well, and a lot of his knives are very cool looking aesthetically. I think I really do like the sort of chamfered, like shadow boxing kind of faceted look that this one has. A lot of his knives have a kind of similar aesthetic on the handle profile. A lot of them have these kind of like flat spots and then like facets and things like that. And they're all, very, they're rounded enough that they're not sharp. Nothing on this is gonna cut you or anything like that. So it makes it really comfortable. This is, like I said, a titanium frame lock, and it does have a steel insert there, and then it is a flipper, as well as you can use the flipper. I'd say probably, no, you could push button it. Maybe. Yeah. So you could push button or you can light switch it. I tend to be a light switcher though most of the time, just because some knives need it, but this one you don't really have to. And then you can also use the sort of filler that it's got in here. It is a little bit more difficult, but you can get it. You can reverse flick it, and you can you can't really thumb it open, at least I can't, but reverse flick you can do. You just kind of got to get it right, because it's not super deep, but you can get into the fuller there. Overall, I really do like this one, and for whatever reason, I just haven't picked up any other Arcane Designs, even though a lot of them are very nice, and a lot of them I do like aesthetically. But he did just somewhat recently announce that he was doing, they're actually already available, but he announced that he was doing a purple titanium version of his Crypt, I believe it was. And of course, I'm a big fan of purple, so I may have to pick up one of those, and it'd be a new knife that I haven't tried from him, which is also nice. But overall, I think this is a really solid piece. For $375, or a little bit less if you can find it on the secondary and you don't mind doing that, I think it's a pretty enjoyable knife. Alright, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this, if you own one, or just what you think based off what you've seen here. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.